Greetings to you all. Kit Kat, yes, he's going to come and say hello, I think. Hey, little Kit Kat with a pushing paw in my throat to say, no, I don't really want to be up here. Anyway, hello. Oh, gosh. He doesn't like being picked up that much, yet here he is once again. And he will pick and choose when he wants to be on me, standing on top of me preferably. But anyway, he's still, yeah, anyway, okay. So, let's persevere with this piece now. Make some headway. And I am, yes, my baby. Yes, yes. Hey, what's this? Clingy. Are we being clingy? Alright. What I need to do now, what I want to do now is to put in some sky. So, I need to just peel that last little bit of I might have to actually stand up for a period, so I might be headless in the video for a bit, but let's see how it goes. It's otherwise coming together rather well, I do declare. I do declare. It's been wintry weather in Durban. Well, for in terms of Durban standards, it's been quite wintry these past number of days, and looks to be until tomorrow or so. I don't know if it'll continue again next week, but might have some respite this weekend. But goodness me, it's quite unusual weather we're having, and the previous cold spell we had a couple of weeks back as well. It was frigid, and it is quite chilly still now, but it's been raining quite a lot these past number of days, which is nice. I enjoy the rain, but I don't like the cold. We're just not equipped for the cold here in Durban. Doesn't get that cold, mind you, but it's still sort of. And then we'll complain again in summer when it's hot and humid. But this is rather unusual. No, it's not actually. Come to think of it, rainy season. No, it's not unusual. But the cold is quite unusual. That's another thing. For this time of year, as we are in spring, it should be fairly warm. Anyway, global warming whatever, and all of that stuff. So we have a fairly pale sky with this, and I'm going to make it even more pale with some white. Some quite intense light. The sun is just up here off the left-hand corner. So we are almost looking into the sun, towards the sun. Not sure if I'll put any clouds, and I don't think I shall. Actually, I would like to keep the basis of this image quite sort of stark. Right, let's now work in a little bit of white over this side. There's a bit of an indentation where the clamp was. I'll have a look over that. Right, exploding pastel. In fact, let's just use my SpongeBob Senior. Let's temper this down a little bit. For goodness sake. SpongeBob Junior then. Mosquito, death to all mosquitoes. What happened there? I think my sleeve caught the page there. Yes, I think it's time to stand up a little bit. Just need to get in here. I need to get in here. So do forgive me. A little bit more intense up the top left hand corner. I have dust everywhere all over me. Right, that looks like a lot better. There we go. Goodness me. Right, now, for that, let's just so when you use the sponge, it really scrapes off quite a lot, but it also blends it as well. And quite nicely too. So, although this is normally a tool that I use with acrylic painting to oh jeepers, that's now I'm just covered in dust. Yeah, so I use it to instead of a paintbrush to spread the more liquid application of acrylic. But in this case, they both actually work with SpongeBob Junior and Senior work quite well with as blending tools, especially for the large areas. So there we go. That's that for now. I'm okay with it for the time being, and I shall attend to it further later. But it's enough to get on with. All right. I need to have a look at. Let's just peel some more. Come on, puppy. Let's have you now. Okay, that will do. Jesus, get off my finger, damn you. All right. I need to subtly start equating the exposure, if you want to call it that, the tint, or the goodness me, it's a cloud of. I want to equate the lightness of the water here slightly to over here. Well, that to that more. So I want to do so subtly by adding in some very pale, well, white streaks of this pastel. also want to just yeah. Sorry, not talking, concentrating. Right, let's work back to that again. So at a point, the light is very similar on both sides, but not all the way through. I just wanted to get it quite close here towards the corner of this top pool. Alright, and now I just, in fact, I'm going to use my white contour for this. Slightly more, oh no, let's use a little bit, I want some dark blue in there. Now, where is that? This little dark blue gets smaller and smaller and smaller. There's a large piece still left there as well, but I use it so seldom, and then it gets smaller and smaller, and then I just can't find it sometimes. So there's just some darker streaks in this piece, and they seem to be just in a certain spot. So there's perhaps where there's a some of the breeze is just ruffling the surface slightly in a spot. Anyway, that will do for the time being. Let's get back to this again. So I want to just move this contour across the surface and along. So this is now back to line work again. So some nice long lines that just build that body, the form of the water subtly. Not absolutely straight, but because of the smoothness of the water, I'm using long lines to accentuate that or to highlight that. Not glassy, however. So if it was glassy smooth, it would be, there would be no ripples and things. But because this is, you know, constantly there's more water pouring in from one of the slightly higher level pools, just as much as it does here. So there's also this offshore breeze that just picks up the surface, and it's quite a substantially large surface. Size-wise, I don't know. I think each of these pools is probably Olympic size. Yeah. Well, these are the two main pools, and then you've got other smaller ones on the ends and on the sides. I think that there's 3 more, 2 or 3 more, I forget. But these are large pools, so they do have a substantial surface area that will, of course, be ruffled by the water, ruffled by the breeze and, you know, other influences. More here and here. I have an obsession for working to the edge of the page, or to the very edge, and if it's an acrylic painting, I like to work around on the sides as well. I don't know why I have that obsession, but I always do. I don't like to leave the sides of the canvas blank canvas, in other words. Because when it sits on a wall, especially if it's just left without a frame, I'm talking paintings, be it acrylic or oils or whatever, but when it's, and I always enjoy quite deep frames, so that when they sit on the wall, to leave the canvas on the sides blank is nah. So I generally paint it with the predominant color of the artwork. I think many artists do that as well. So you'll notice now that this the blue of this top pool is no longer quite so vibrant and intense blue electric anymore. It's got a more of a softness to it, which is great, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to continue with this vibe of just unplug that for a bit. With this vibe of line work. In fact, I'm going to move these clamps back up again a little bit for a while. There. It's only when you when I use the either I'm covering a large area like that up top there with blue or white or whatever, and then using one of these tools to smudge it, to blend with, and that's when I get a hell of a lot of dust. Oh, well, at least it didn't get into my lungs. It drops pretty quickly, so I did get some on my shirt, etc. But it does all drop down and it covers the surface. So back to some line work, and here now where we've got much closer foreground and more activity in terms of this water that's plunging in here, this little cascade from the weir, the line work will change. So it goes from fairly gentle over here and long strokes to much shorter strokes and more squiggly down here. Just basically picking up on the essence, the mood of the water, the movement, the energy, what it's doing, what it looks like, and what it feels like in reality. So in other words, I'm hearing the sounds as I sit here. Even I'm hearing the sounds of that water trickling through, bubbling through, and then this little foamy part over here that builds up and then just slowly dissipates out, and then you've got this wobbly surface, creating these wonderful golden unusual patterns on the sea, on the bed of the pool. And so as I describe that energy and that feeling and what I'm observing, as I'm talking, I'm just my Conte crayon simply wanders. like a passage from Omar Khayyam. Moving finger writes and having writ moves on. It's just like that. I think it's a sensation of just, it just goes wherever it needs to go. And it went wherever I did go. Monty Python, but I don't know where that comes from. I don't recall which Monty Python that's from, but anyway, I just always remember that for years and years and years. And it went wherever I did go. Goodness. Anyway, so back to the story at hand. As I have been mentioning the last couple of days, this and I shall intensify it quite significantly. This sensation of treasure, you know, and you know, the idea of it's simply merely the concept of it, treasure. The word treasure even, and it sort of excites the excites the inner child almost. Well, it does in me, and I'm kind of the bus driver here, so it's you know, Pieces of Eight and all that sort of stuff. Treasure Island. You know, as a kid reading that book, and many others. Hidden Treasure, always just X marks the spot type of thing. You know, so something that you feel that as a kid there's a certain emotion to feeling like you're the only one that's found this, the only one that's seen it. Shh, you know. So there's this feeling I get from this, just catching a glint of gold in the water. It's like a what do you call them? Those people who goodness, I know there's going to be some of you going, I've got the word. Those sifting through rivers, looking for gold nuggets. What do you call it? Is it a prospector? No. Yes, prospector. And you kind of hap upon this spot. And there's nobody else around but you. And then you see this something, this dull yellow glinting at you in the water, beneath the surface, in the depths, and nobody else is around, and you kind of go, is that what I think it is? And this is the kind of, when I speak of wonder, to be in wonder, that's a childhood. That's a childhood state, way of being, way of thinking, way of and we've had it. We've all had it. At some point in our childhood, where when playing or whatever, those of us who were lucky to do so, and we go into this a completely different world. You'll see a little girl that's sitting there with her doll's house and Barbie dolls or whatever they are, and or doing the housey thing, with a little stove and little chairs and table and teacups and all that sort of thing, and then she has a little tea party for herself and her teddy bear and whatever else. That's being in a state of wonder, where that in that moment and for that time, that is her reality. That is the child's reality. We might think it's ludicrous to go there as an adult, but that's where creativity exists, and that's where an artist lives, actually. For that time, for these times that I sit here, for these sessions that I sit here and I do my work and share it with you, I exist in a state of wonder for the most part, except when I'm obsessing about something and ranting, but my world is here. My world is here in this artwork, in this place, in this location, I'm not out there. I'm not wherever I'm here. I'm present here, now, in this moment. The past and the future doesn't matter for me. This is my reality, this place. And, even as I start talking about this treasure, and I'm going there. I'm going back to childhood experiences and thoughts and what have you, of books of my younger days, reading these fascinating books about treasure and piracy and, well, not piracy in the Somali type of idea, but pirates and pig legs and hooks and whatever, Captain Hook and what have you, all that sort of thing. It's a wonderland, and it transports one. And this is a wonderland, this place, I believe, for kids. And the moment I set foot here, I also was transported into this wonderland, because, I just felt that excitement, that youthful excitement about this place, and not for me, but for all of the kids out there, and that state of wonder is so important to us to nurture and to bring about, to bring into being, because wonder is also where possibility, one of the places that possibility exists and emanates from, where stuff is manifested, our thoughts and dreams and what have you. Yes. So what can I say? I say we put a little bit of marigold in here for the time being. Anyway, I am tending to waffle a little bit now, so yeah. So my thinking as I work on this piece, and it becomes more than just an artwork when you give it its due energy. And when you observe at a deeper level, then it takes on this new meaning, it takes on this wonder, this possibility. Is that really gold? Maybe, I don't know, but it could be in another space and time and what have you. Anyway, right, what I want to do now is I need to add a little bit more charcoal here to bring in a bit more contrast. the edge, if you please, to the edge. You know, whenever one of these artworks is framed, it always has to take off the, you know, the border needs to cover the 5 or 10 millimeters of the edges of this artwork anyway, but that's my obsession. To work down here a while. I need to actually make a little bit of white more into the surface here. So there's a kind of a jauntiness to the flow here. This little surge of water, and then it hits the surface of the pool, and it's kind of a bubbling, bobbing sensation, spreading out. just a little bit of lilac and pale blue in there as well, just catching that sky a little bit here and there, just an odd spot. Otherwise, yeah. Right, back to white again. So we shall complete this piece tomorrow, or in our next session. I'm just using my charcoal here just to get this contrast going a little bit. I might add some acrylic tomorrow as well, just in the merest touch of it, just like with the last piece, but just to catch the light here a little bit more intensely. I'll see how it goes. See how I feel. See what speaks to me. There's a fair amount more work still to do though. A fair amount more. Might not be that obvious, but it will become so as this piece pulls together more. Fairly subtle work, mind you, but yes. And lots more line work, I feel, as well. Right, back to here again. Let's actually use this slightly fatter piece of, if I can find it again. Where art thou? There we go. Maybe you? Yeah, maybe you. wonder, let me just try this for a moment. Yeah, I'm just going to use my compressed charcoal, I think, for a bit, because we've got some nicely, there's some depth here, there's some darkness here, because this little white patch over here of foam is quite, it's quite thick, so it actually casts quite a dark shadow on the bottom of the pool. Quite a dark shadow, and I want to just intensify that a little bit over here in spots. Right, a little bit there and a little bit of white as well. Just a few flecks of white here on tips on the surface above. And once more I shall be working much more with these kinds of things tomorrow as I work towards closure. So this is where things slow down, actually, as they always do. So yeah, with these small touches. So I can just smooth out the intensity of that black with my charcoal. A bit of brown added in as well. Just that's not dark enough, that charcoal. Man. Maybe this one. No. Maybe. These charcoal sticks are always better. Okay, so these charcoal sticks are always differ in their intensity, their darkness, their tint, or rather, yeah, sometimes they have a slightly more kind of coppery tint to them. Other times they are a little bit more black, inky black, coal black. It's very hard to tell when you purchase them, because even with the best quality charcoal, just depends on the wood itself. Anyway, that be said, they all work out quite nicely. Some you can employ the different tints quite well depending on what the requirement is. And here we've got a lot of diversity, so I'm using a nice dark piece at the moment, so just these bobbing, jiggling, bouncy, jaunty shadows on the bottom of the pool. Just doodling the hell away here. I really am. It's and I'm nearly out of time. So I shall continue to do so on the morrow. Yes, just that mottled look, and again pulling through that sensation of there's treasure. Anyway, yes, let's just revisit our childhood expressiveness and expansiveness and mindfulness and that sense of adventure. Yeah, intrigue. Anyway, so thank you for joining me today once more, and I hope you've enjoyed the process. Yes, oodles and oodles of toodles, and catch you again on the morrow. So I do hope you're kind of enjoying the process here and kind of gathering what I'm saying, reading between the lines as in terms of my mental meanderings. But anywho, that's my process, I guess, and it is what it is. But this piece is coming along really nicely. I'm actually very stoked with it, how it's turned out. It always surprises me how these pieces can once you let go in the early stages, it always surprises me how they just take on a life of their own and describe themselves. So yeah, it's always exciting for me to sit down and start these in the mornings, because I don't know how it's going to transpire, how it's going to take shape and take form. So yeah, it's just as exciting for me as it is perhaps for someone watching. So anyway, right, enough waffle. Do have a fantastic day further, and be good, be safe, be kind, and see you on the morrow. Bye bye, folks. And don't forget to doodle.